Digital notebooks are one of the top selling digital products on Etsy. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a digital notebook using Canva. You can use the free or pro account. However, I'll be using the pro account. So to get started, all you need to do is create a canvas. I use an 8.5 by 11 inch. And first, we are going to start by creating the, so go to Elements, and you can search for the type of background that you want to use. I'm going to use a blue watercolor background and search for graphics. Any graphic that has the crown is for a pro account, but you can use any of the graphics without the crown for the free account. So I'm actually going to look for a different background. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use this background. So I select it, and then I'm going to right click and set images background. And then next, I'm going to go ahead and select a square shape. Okay. And I'm going to add an outline. Let's see. Okay, I don't want it rounded. I'm going to go ahead and select this icon and take it all the way down to 0 because I want a square corner. And want the inside to be white. Let's see. All right. I like that location. So I'm going to leave it there. And then for the outline, I want a pink outline. So if you want to change the outline, you select this circle and you can type in the hex code if you know it, or you can select a color along the spectrum and then drag it around to see if there's one that you'd like. I know the specific color I'm going to use, so I'm going to go ahead and add that here. Okay, now that I've got the outline color selected, I'm going to go ahead and add text. So select text here, the text box, type in the text you want. You can type in notes or notebook, journal if it's a journal. And then you can drag the circle to make the text bigger, or you can select the plus sign at the top. And I'm going to go ahead and change that text style. So you can search for a type of text. So if you want a serif, you can type in serif and then just try out different text. I selected the one that I wanted to use already. So I'm going to go ahead and drag it into the box, just the size. And then I want to center it in the square. So the way you can select both is you select the text box, hold down Shift, and select the square. Select position, and then you can, on the left-hand side, click center and middle, and it'll center. And I want to change the color of the text. So select the text. At the top, you can select text color, the plus sign, and since I know the color that I want to use, I can do a couple things actually. I can select the pick a color. I could pick a color on the background and then drag it around. Or, excuse me, if you know the text code, you can just add it to this box. Okay, and then I do want to add a couple more elements to make the cover stand out. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Elements, select the square shape, and I'm going to add a little bit of a shadow on the left side of the cup. Here, and I want to make this the gradient so that it's a shadow, and then select transparency so it looks more like a shadow than solid. And I'm going to go ahead and drag it to the edge. And maybe make it a little thinner. Let's see, I like it a little bit more transparent and a little closer to the edge. Let's see. Okay, I like how that looks. And then, let's see, I'm going to add another element. So, let's see, into watercolor, blue, and then if I could find one that I like, because I want to add a line here, like it's got an elastic band. But I want to add, see if I can find a graphic that has some texture. Let's see. Yeah, I like that one. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, I'm gonna drag it the length of the cover. And drag this over. And I'm gonna add some lines. So go back to elements and shape. Let's see. Right here. Okay, line. Now go back to elements. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to select a line and adjust it so vertically and drag it the length of the notebook. Change the weight. We'll go maybe to 3 and see how that's going to look. And then I'm going to copy it or duplicate it. So let's go here. Okay, you can right click and duplicate. And duplicate again. You can also, once it's selected, click the plus sign to duplicate. Oh, and then let's see, I'm gonna move these a little bit closer. If you want to drag this slider at the bottom, you can increase the how close you can see it. You can make it closer. So sometimes it's easier to select elements when you do that. All right. So, and then I'm going to select all three of these lines. Okay. So sometimes, so I'm having trouble selecting them. So I'm going to just click on the right, drag across, and it's going to select all this element as well. So I'm going to hit Shift Select to unselect it. Now I've only got the three lines. And what I want to do is I want to align them. So now that they're aligned, and I'm going to group them so it's easier to work with all three so I can just drag them together. And then I think that's a little bit thick, but first I want to change the color. So I'm going to select the circle and select the blue, make it a little bit darker so it stands out. Let's see, I think that's a good color and it stands out. Okay, so let's see how that looks. So I'm going to change the stroke weight to 2. Like that. All right, I actually like the thicker line. Okay, so I like the way that cover looks. Next, I'm going to go ahead and create the interior pages. So I'm going to add a page, and I'm going to add the lines. So selected the line, I'm going to change the stroke to 1. And you can drag it, or you can just do normal. You want the stroke weight to be 1, and you can make it longer across the page or shorter. It's up to you based on your preference. Okay. I like that length. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to leave some room at the top. So someone using it has space up here to write a title from the page if they want. And then I can either select it and duplicate it, or you can right click and duplicate. And for spacing, that's a little bit close. So I'm going to make this, and let's see. I'm going to select both position just to make sure they're centered, and then duplicate underneath. And let's see. I'm going to go, I'm going to select these, Shift Select, Control C for copy, and then make sure the spacing, and then Control V. And select them all. Oops, again. And one more. Okay, and oops, great. So I just want to check. Okay, I like the spacing for the line, so I'm going to leave that. And then next, I'm going to go ahead and add a graphic to give it a little bit of interest. So I'm going to do blue and pink. Oh, I've got it right here, actually. Pink and blue watercolor. Not sure why that's, there we go. And we want to look at graphics. Okay. I like this flower, so I'm going to go ahead and select the flower and drag it to make it smaller. Now this actually matches, and I'm going to paste it here. So actually that could be, I could add that to the cover. I think that looks nice that way, but I'm going to leave it without the flower. But you can add the graphic to the cover to see if it's a good accent and matches your theme for the notebook. Okay, so I definitely like that flower. I'm going to go ahead and add it to the bottom. And you can make it however big or small that you want. I think that looks nice. And I'm going to select the line. And just drag it over. Make this bigger so it's easier to see what I'm doing here. Okay, you can select the line. And if you select shift, then the line won't move. It'll stay. Because sometimes when you go ahead and select it, and you try to drag it, it will readjust on you. So this keeps it straight. So I selected shift and I'm dragging it. And actually, just a little bit. I've got these groups somehow. So let's see. There we go. See if that works. Okay. And I just want that to overlap with the bottom line a little bit. So I'm going to make this a little bigger. And select the bottom line. There we go. Okay. Well, let me see. Okay, I like how that looks. And then I'm going to add another page. Actually, delete this page. I'm going to duplicate this page. So just click on the plus sign. And I'm going to go ahead and add another flower. The top right. So I want the size to be the same, actually. So I can just select it, align it here, and just make sure that it's roughly the same size. And this is going to be a different page, different style. So I'm going to delete this flower. Select the line, shift select, and I'm going to drag these lines to make sure that they're even. And then I select the line, shift, and drag. Select the line, select shift on the keyboard, and then drag it. And then I'm going to do the same thing at the top of the page, this page that I did at the bottom of this page, and drag the lines so that they're not behind the flower. Okay, I'm just selecting the line, selecting shift on the keyboard and dragging it. And again, that's so that the line doesn't move around on the canvas. Okay, so I like those two pages. Right, and then next, okay, so there's a couple of things you can do here. You can decide that you just want a notebook with a cover and then pages. So if that's the case, you can go into grid view and you can duplicate the pages from here. So right click, duplicate page, and it's up to you. You can have alternating pages. I think that's what I'll do for this notebook. And then you can just select the pages, duplicate two pages, and you'll see how it alternates here. Okay, this is going to duplicate all 5 pages. You just want to make sure that it's alternating if that's what you wanted. So let's see, I'll go ahead and stop at, let's see, and we're going to duplicate all 10. We'll stop at 20 pages. Okay, so for this notebook, that's all I'm going to do is have the cover page and these lined pages. Okay, so I'm going to download this as a PDF. So you click share, download, and click file type, PDF standard, download. Okay, and let's see, I'm going to go ahead and leave it in my downloads. Okay, and I'm going to pull this up and show you what it's going to look like. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. All right, and then next I'm going to show you how to add links. So we're going to create an index page with sections, and then I'm going to show you how to link it. So let's go back. Okay, we're going to add a page. And I'm showing you this. Oops, I didn't want to duplicate that. I wanted to add it. So let's go back. Duplicate. There we go. Plus sign to add. Okay. And I did notice that the YouTube tutorials will show you up to this point, a lot of them, but they don't show you how to interlink. So, and it's important for planners, definitely, but even for digital notebooks. When I'm using a digital notebook, I like to have sections and I like it to be linked. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this text. And this is going to be the index. And let's see here. I'll drag it, make it a little bit smaller. And it's going to be section 1. I don't want the text that big. I think I'm going to add a line just to add some interest. Okay. I'm going to add it next to it. See how this looks. Okay. Not sure if I like that, but you move it a little closer. And actually, we want them to be the same size, so I'm just going to copy it. And okay, I selected both. Selected line, shift select the second line. And then I'm going to make sure that they're aligned in the middle. And then just get a little bit right, and then we're going to center this. Okay. I'm going to change the color. Maybe make it a little darker. Let's see. All right. Section 1. All right. So I'm going to select square. Take the text down. Well, we're going to do 4 sections. So I selected the text, and you can duplicate it or Control C, Control V. All right. So now we've got 4 sections. 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then make sure they're aligned. And space them vertically. And let's see. Oh, I didn't want to delete that. Okay. So I'm going to select pink and see how I like that. Okay. That's a little bit dark. I'm going to make it lighter. I can do this in a couple ways. I can select the color, select the plus sign on the left, and drag it. Another way to do that would be to go to transparency and use that. Drag it to the left to make it lighter. Okay. And then we're going to go so we want to center these. Make sure they're centered in the middle. Okay. That's a little bit. No, so I select this rectangle, shift select the section and position, selecting middle. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to drag this. Okay, so I think that's good. So the purpose of this tutorial is just to show you how to interlink, um, create an index and interlink. Okay, let's see. I'm going to select the rectangle. So I hit select Control C, Control V 3 times to make the four rectangles. And we're just gonna position them right next to the section. So when someone's using the digital notebook, what they can do is make custom, they can write what the section is on this rectangle. Okay. That's a pretty basic index, but again, this is just to show you how you would interlink the notebook. Okay, so now that I've got the index created, I'm going to go ahead and section tabs or section pages. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this page and then remove the lines. And this is going to be section 1. Okay. And I'm going to delete that text, delete the square or the rectangle, the extra rectangles. And let's see. Hey, you can play around with this. Let's see. I'm going to create a outline. Okay. Try that. Make it. Select the line or the circle here. Just select the outline color. Make it blue, and then let's send it to the back. The back. I'm not sure if I like both these, but we're going to make the text smaller. Let's make this white. And the outline is going to be pink. Okay. Make sure it's centered on the page. Okay. So that's pretty basic. I might make the pink a little bit darker so it stands out more. Okay. All right. So there's the section 1 page, and then I'm just going to add titles to each page. So that's section 1. This is going to be in. Okay. And then now that we've got the first section page done, I'm just going to duplicate it. Section 2, section 3, and section 4. And let's see. Now that I've got the section pages done, Going to make sure that the page labels match. And changing this one to section 4. Okay. And let's see. And cover page. Cover. And let's go ahead and label notes 1. And notes 2. Okay. All right. Now the next step is to add the links to the section pages. So I'm going to go ahead and link the text and the rectangle. Okay, so let's link it. And we're going to link it to the section 1 page. So I'm going to show you again how to do this. So you can select the text, right click, select link, and then select the page. So this is section 1. All right. Now, if you can leave the underline, but if you don't want to underline, you just click underline. Removes it. The link will stay the okay. And let's go ahead and link the rectangle. You select it. You can click on the 3 dots for more and click link, or you can right click like I showed you for the text. So let's go ahead and link it. And this is section 1. All right, next we're going to do link section 2. And let's do section 2. And I don't want this outline, so I'm clicked on the U with the underline. And then I'm going to right click, or I'm going to select the rectangle for section 2 and link that. So here, link, and section 2. And do the same for section 3 and section 4. Section 3 and section 4, or section 3 rectangle. Section 3. Maybe want this. Okay. And the last rectangle. Okay. So now the index is linked to each section. And we've got the notes pages. Okay. And let's see. Okay. So the next step I want to do is add a link to the index page for each page. So it's easy for navigation. So you can do this by adding an I for index, adding the name, the title of the page index, or you can I'm going to look for a house icon to reference that it is the home page. So let's go ahead and select that. And I'm going to make it small. And let's see. Okay. So I'm going to make this blue. So let's go here and okay, make that smaller. And I'm going to go ahead and link this. So to the index page, link, and click the index page and done. Okay. So now I can add this to each page for easy navigation. Okay, so let's see. So I've got it selected here. Let me move it over. And I'll make this a little bit smaller. Let me see how that looks. Like, all right, we'll leave it bigger. And okay. So now I'm gonna select it and hit Control C to copy it. And then I'm gonna paste it to each section page and the notes pages. So Control V, Control V, Control V, and two more. Control V. And actually, I'm gonna go back and, well, if you do this before you create all the notes pages, then you can duplicate the notes pages here. And you're not going to have to copy and paste it to each page. But since I already created the pages, I'm going to go ahead and do it separately. So Control V, it won't take that long, so don't. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and I'm only going to leave the two notes pages, the two different types, because the person using this notebook is going to add the pages to each section as they need them. So I'm going to go ahead and select the first page I want to delete and the last page. So shift select for the last page. I'll show you again. I selected the first one, I hit shift on the keyboard and selected, and then I'm just going to delete. Okay. So the person using this notebook on their iPad or tablet is going to add each pages to each section as they need them. So we don't need multiple of the same different layouts. So this is what it looks like. It's all interlinked. We've got an index with 4 sections that are linked to each section page. And then we've got the 2 variations of the notes pages. So that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and download the PDF and okay, standard PDF. And I'm trying to think if there's anything I want to show you before I do this. So you might want to, let me go back. Okay, so here you might want to just title this. So you, so this might be Blue Notebook. If you're going to do different variations. Okay, so yeah. All right. So download. We're going to download it as PDF standard. Download. And I'll go ahead and save it. So save it to whatever folder you want to save it at. Okay. Well, I'm going to pull it up and show you how it's interlinked. Oh, this again, Blue Notebook. Okay, so when it's pulled up in a tablet, once the person using it scrolls to this page, it's going to be linked. So here's section 1, and then we can go back, section 2, to the home page, section 3, and section 4. And each section in the page has this link, so it's easy to get back to the index page. So that's it for this tutorial, and I will be creating additional tutorials on how to create different variations and use this template, use your original notebook as a template to create multiple variations and stuff. And please remember to hit subscribe and like if you enjoyed this tutorial.